Now for the top story tonight. Senator Barack Obama has a problem with American fathers who abandon their children.
Too many fathers are AWOL, missing from too many lives and too many homes. They've abandoned their responsibilities. We need families to raise our children. We need fathers to recognize that responsibility doesn't just end at conception. That doesn't just make you a father. What makes you a man is not the ability to have a child. Any fool can have a child.
All right, but not everybody is happy with the way Senator Obama phrased things. With us now, Fox News analyst Dr. Marc Lamont Hill. So do you have a beef with him?
I do. You know, and I've defended Barack Obama, particularly from right-wing attacks. However, I still have to critique Barack Obama from the left. The fact here is that, yes, people should be responsible, whether you're black, whether you're white, no matter who you are, you should be a responsible father and or mother. However, you also have to raise critical structural and societal issues that make it difficult to be responsible. When you raise one over the other, it lets the government off the hook, it lets the state off the hook, and it also lets individuals off the hook for not challenging the government. And so I would like to see Barack have a more nuanced and balanced message.
Okay, but if he does have a more nuanced message, then the message gets lost in excuses, victimization. So if you say to a man, if you have a kid, you raise the kid, you support the kid, I don't think that there's anything left to say. If you are a man and you father a child, it is your responsibility to raise and support the child. Now, you don't have to live with the mother if it's a divorce or whatever it may be, but you've got to look out for the welfare of the kid. The government has anything to do with that.
No, absolutely, and I don't think that
that's his message.
No, well, it was a little more than that. What we don't want to see, just like with Bill Cosby, we don't want to see people dismiss the lack of access to jobs, to housing, to education, the prison industrial complex. Oh, there absolutely is. Oh, absolutely. For example, if you look at, there are just draconian child support policies that actually make it harder for people to support the child financially because of what happens when you get a job. They take arrears, they take all these things that actually make it difficult to get a living wage.
They should take everything.
I think men should support their children. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying people shouldn't be responsible, but we have to be more creative in the ways that we force people to do such so that people can get a paying job and support their children.
Okay, look,
right now, we actually dissuade people from getting a good legal job because they take all the money out in child support, just as an example.
Here's what I don't understand. In the early 60s, when America was a much more racist country than it is today, you had a much lower abandonment situation in the African-American community. You know that.
Absolutely.
Much lower. Okay, now you have 56% of black children living in a single-parent home and 70% of black children born out of wedlock. Now, this is 46 years later, okay? So you can't blame it on slavery and deprivation and civil rights because that was much worse in the 60s when black American homes were much more stable. What you have to blame it on is the people themselves who abandon and the culture, which doesn't as it did in the 60s. In the black culture in the 60s, you tell me if I'm wrong here, you abandon your kid, you were shamed. People wouldn't talk to you. Now, you're cool. You can do that in a lot of neighborhoods. That's the difference.
I won't go so far as to say you're cool, but I think you are raising one of two critical issues. Individual responsibility. African-American people and white people need to be responsible. It should never be cool to abandon your child. No doubt about that. But we also have to look at the other end. We have to look at joblessness. We have to look at the invasion of crack, of drug economies, because drug economies fracture families. Incarceration fractures families.
But who chooses to take the drugs?
Oh, but it's not that simple. Whoever chooses just to take drugs, there's circumstances that cause people to take drugs. People medicate themselves. People medicate themselves when they're having deep psychological problems because they don't have access to health care.
Tatum O'Neal does that, and she's a rich white woman. So I'm supposed to give her a pass that she's not a good mom? I'm not saying she is. No. But come on.
But the difference is when rich white people make these mistakes, they have safety nets. As often, as Barack said yesterday, there's no margin of error for poor black people, so they have to be more responsible. I'm not against that. What I don't want Barack Obama to do, or anyone else, is to let the government off the hook.
It doesn't have anything to do with having children. You choose to have a child or not.
Well, you absolutely choose. You absolutely choose to have a child.
Government doesn't have nothing to do with that.
But there are conditions in place that make it difficult to be responsible.
No, it isn't.
Oh, absolutely.
You use birth control.
Even the most responsible person needs to have a job in order to take care of their child. Even the most responsible person needs access to clean homes.
Look, doctor, you know how many millions of African Americans have jobs and are raising good childing and are in stable relationships?
Oh, yeah, I know lots of them.
Okay,
my best friends are African American.
Most of them, okay? So the ones that don't, it's their fault. If one African American can make it driving a cab or doing whatever he has to do, the other can too.
That is too simple a solution, and it's not just black people. I would say the same thing to poor white people who are struggling.
And he didn't make a color line, Barack Obama.
Absolutely. He said this is particularly prevalent in our community,
but not solely.
When he said our, he didn't mean Democrats. He meant black people.
No, I don't know. I get confused.
I know. That's why I'm here to correct you.
Okay. Now let me ask you one more thing. In a radio interview today, the person that we talked to said this was a play by Barack Obama, a cynical play.
Indeed.
To win.
Of course it is, because look what's happening right now.
So you don't believe he was sincere in saying this?
I believe. Well, I think it's both.
He wanted votes from white people. That's why.
I think it's both. Look at what's happening right now. You and I are debating this issue.
Right.
So now you'll have conservative people who are going to say Marc Lamont Hill's an idiot, which they always do anyway. But Marc Lamont Hill's an idiot, and conservatives are going to be defending Barack Obama against me. So now you have conservatives siding with Barack Obama. That's the very constituency that he needs most desperately.
So you think that he calculated this to get votes and not to deliver a message that would help children?
I don't think he's ignorant to the fact that all of America was listening to this message to this church on this day. This is his.
So he should have not said it?
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying let's not be naive and think that he was just giving this message out of personal, benevolence. He understood the political consequences, just like Bill Clinton did with the Sister Soldier remark in 1992, and just like Bill Cosby did in 2004 with his pound cake speech. They understood that there will be a ripple effect throughout the community. That's what Barack Obama wants.
Do you think he pandered here?
Oh, absolutely, Barack Obama pandered. He pandered to middle-of-the-road conservatives and white people.
So. I think he said the truth. Well, I think he said the truth.
I disagree, because there are spaces where Barack Obama says the truth when he's much more critical of the structures in place. There are other times where he says the truth, which panders to individual responsibility. He's a politician just like everybody else.
Not me. Good debating with you,
Doctor,
as always. Next time.